If you are a multi-passionate girl boss who wants to create, write, teach, learn, connect, and take time for herself and her family and friends, you are listening to the right pod. Hi, I'm Lauren Jean, your go-to podcast resource girl and self and business development freak. I love everything related to development, as well as focusing on self-confidence, letting go of control, and following your intuition. All right, let's get down to the good stuff. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I have on the phone with me today Lisa Laura from logicallylifted.com, and I'm going to let her go into what exactly it is that she's doing right now, because over the years, her bio has changed so many times, as mine has. So I'm going to let her jump right in here and tell us exactly what it is that she's doing. And before I let her do that, I want to let you guys know that she is the actual sponsor of the show. So we're going to chat today and let you guys know how we connected, how we've evolved, and how she's become the sponsor of the show and how she can help you guys with your podcasts and your businesses, of course. But Lisa, jump in here and let us know what it is that you're up to these current days.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. I know we definitely go way back and have been through so much, and it's such an honor to be here today and be a sponsor of your show. There's so many exciting things to come, and I'm really excited to do it together. So yeah, cheers to that.
Yeah. We definitely need to have a drink for that too.
I know. For now, it will be a virtual drink, but
yes.
So pretty much my journey started, I think, deep after college, and I had no idea what the heck I wanted to do with my life. And I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I had no idea in what regard. And of course, I think at those pivotal moments, we really cling to our biggest influences. And that biggest influence was my father. And he is your typical alpha male, very successful and inspirational. And he's in business. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get my business degree and do that. So I wound up going to school to get my business degree with a focus in marketing. And I loved it. I loved the whole creative marketing idea aspect of it. I actually saw myself in advertising. I don't know, I'm sure the listeners and you have seen How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Yeah, I love that movie.
She writes her magazine, but I feel like just coming up with those quick taglines and slogans, and I was all about that. So I had this perspective in my head of how that would all pan out. And after college, I got in with a few advertising agencies, and I loved the experience. I loved the people that I met, the education that I got, just the hands-on experience, but something was missing. And for one, the cube life just was not for me. And I just felt this disconnect of I'm craving more, but what is it? And of course, when we get those feelings, we have an option to follow that or stay stuck. And then it will just keep nudging until you have to face it. And that's what happened. That's what led me down the coaching path. So once I went down the coaching path, I went to IIN. That's how Lauren and I met, and we'll get into that later. But it was a complete game changer. I mean, you really just dive deep into your personal development in ways that you don't even realize. It completely shifts your perspective. And I loved learning about what to eat for your body and learning about all of these different nutrition techniques and diets. But what I loved most was the lifestyle management techniques, how you're managing your stress and how you're trusting and listening to yourself. That's what I really clung to. And so I knew I wanted to be a coach. I was just that natural listener for everyone. I feel like in my family, within my group of friends, they really just came to me for that mutual perspective. I was always able to kind of stand outside and see their view and just offer advice that now, okay, hey, you have this advice, you get to choose what you do with it. You can trust yourself or choose to stay stuck. So I had this idea of having the coaching taking over completely. I was like, screw the marketing. I was doing that on the side, by the way, to just make a living and be financially stable until the coaching took off. but it wasn't even like in my mind. I was like, this is it. The coaching is it. And what wound up happening is the more that I was trying to build myself up and build my business with coaching, marketing, just marketing strategy and people and clients kept coming to me. And I was like, what is going on? So it wasn't until I had this aha moment of, wow, I am really good at marketing. I have all of these clients and this work. So maybe I just need to shift my perspective and how I view it. And so I'm a big fan of having a big vision for yourself, but also optimizing what's on your plate at the moment, because it may not always be what you want or your ideal experience, but there's always lessons to be learned and opportunities to take on. And that's where everything started falling into place. That's what I like to call finding my sweet spot of life. And I basically am now a personal development coach and a creative marketing strategist for heart-centered entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Wow. It's definitely been a ride. Absolutely been a ride. And I've seen you go through all of that.
Yeah. And that was the short version. So
yeah. Yeah. Really was a short version. That's like how many years into a couple of minutes.
Been working on that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. You have to learn how to cut it down, right? It's part of marketing.
No, definitely.
Yeah. That's so cool. I mean, definitely I'm with you there on the cube lifestyle. Not a fan of that. That's a way to die early, in my view, anyway.
Yeah, it works for some people, but you know what? I think as you start gaining a sense of who you are, gaining a sense of yourself, and you listen to what you actually need, you'll know. And I think we're just people who have those bigger visions and want to create our own babies instead of helping other people create theirs.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I like to embrace what other people have and help them have that shine, like let them really shine. And that's where I do it through the podcasting. Like I love doing all of the marketing type fun stuff for myself. But then when it comes down to helping other people, that just makes me so much more happier. And it just kind of fills up my cup and it really keeps me going throughout the day, motivation and really learning what they need. It's been something that's in me for a while. I've always loved to teach. I've always loved to learn. I've always loved to lead, that kind of thing. It's what really helps other people grow is what makes me excited.
Yeah,
I definitely see that in you too, because over the years, we've been through so many things trying to do things on our own, which we are doing. But in the end, it's about helping other people with the things that we love to do. So yeah, with you, it's, the marketing and the business and the creative stuff. And with me, it's all that stuff, but it's also under the podcasting umbrella, I want to call it. Yeah. And that's where we decided that we would work well together because for years since we met in 2013 was IIN and we graduated in 14, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. Yep.
I can't remember the years anymore because we had connected because we lived very close. And this is kind of where our story goes. We met at IIN. We went through the whole program. In the end, completely lost, disconnected, connected, disconnected, connected.
Yeah.
I think we bunch of times
knew that we were going to collaborate in some way. You know what happened was we're just such creative minds. So I think when we first met, we got so inspired because we had been stuck for so long that the ideas were just like flowing. And we're the types of people who, when opportunities present itself, we greet it with open arms and open heart, open mind. And we're like, hell yes, like let's do this. And we did a lot of being curious and a lot of experimenting to figure out that sweet spot of, okay, who we really are and what we really want, what we want to bring to the world. And from that, like to make it come full circle, I get so excited is your story is your superpower. And along that journey, which led us to co-authoring in the Silver Lining Storybook, which talk about fast track to personal development, where you have a deadline and it forces you to dive deep into all of your stuff, your major challenges, pivotal moments in life, why you are the way that you are, all out there. When then you pick up the pieces and put them together, it was like holy aha moment. It was so cool to see from that perspective of like, wow, your story really is your superpower in so many different ways, where you now get to see your strengths, your weaknesses, your challenges, why you are the way that you are, and use that to your advantage and now pay it forward to those other people and help them inspire and see their unique strengths and help them be vulnerable, because that's the hardest part, right? It's a mix of being vulnerable, having that support, being brave enough, and being authentic and sharing your story and yourself with the world. And that's exactly how we mesh right now, how it's all coming back together.
Yeah, it really is coming back together. And I know there's even more. Like, it's just going to keep expanding as we learn and we grow. And yeah, I really feel like that book really helped push forward. And even after that book, which was a year ago, it's crazy, a year ago, things are still opening up and I'm still learning a ton. So it's a never ending story, really. It's a never ending story. But learning how to start that story, I feel, is the hardest for some people. They just don't know where to start. And it can be very confusing. It definitely can be. But yeah, I remember those days. It was at the end of 2014 and we were sitting in Starbucks. I remember this specific day. I don't know the date, but it was at the end of year. I think it was right after we had graduated. And we were talking about all these ideas and what we wanted to do. And we had massive amounts of ideas and lists. And the lists were everywhere. And we didn't have one spot. And we just couldn't find ideas because they were in different places. It was just really confusing.
Yeah. And that was like all on paper. Imagine what was going on in our minds.
Oh my God. It was out of control, out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember us talking about, we both wanted to start a podcast. And I had just started listening to Amy Porterfield's podcast, the first one I listened to. And the light just went off in my head. And that was my minute that I'm like, yes, I'm going to start this. And something in me just told me, just do it. Like, I felt like we were all over the place. You didn't really know where you wanted to be. Mm-hmm. I kind of had an idea. I wanted to do a podcast, but I had no idea what it was about. And I just jumped into it. Yeah. And I just started it. And we've both evolved since then in so many different ways. And we've done so many different things, and yet we've come back together again.
Yeah. I think what's so cool is to speak on that is that when we both were in that place, we were so determined to figure it out and find ourselves. And now we realize, okay, that is the journey, is that we're always going to be peeling back those layers. But I think what was most important was that we both kind of found our outlets of how to live and speak our truth. For you, it was podcasting. For me, it was writing. So it's just a matter of finding your platform. And even, to start, I just talk to myself sometimes because I'm getting it out and then I get that clarity. And I think that's what it provided for you with the podcasting. So coming from the perspective of maybe not putting it out there right away, but just getting comfortable with like hearing yourself and putting those pieces together as a form of comfort and support for yourself of gaining that clarity. I think that's what it really provided for me.
Yeah, that's definitely what it did for me. It was like my form of therapy for myself. Mm-hmm. I could sit there in front of a microphone and not have anyone look at me. And at the same time, I can get everything out that I wanted to say. Because I know ultimately I wanted to get out and do workshops and speak. And that's really where I'm now, is really excited. Like, I'm not even afraid to do that anymore. I just want to get out there. Yeah. So it really helped me push that confidence level way up. And I'm still an extreme introvert where I could like stay locked in a room for 3 days by myself. But at the same time, I want to bust and get out and finally talk in front of real live breathing people.
No, definitely. And that's so exciting. It's such a cool experience to be able to watch each other's journey and be a part of it and learn from it too, from everything that we've went through, challenges, and celebrate each other's wins. Because there's been a lot of those, and that is a hard lesson I had to learn too.
Yeah, there's been a lot of wins.
Yeah, those lists and the to-do lists, they don't end. They won't ever end. So you definitely, I need to stop and celebrate everything. Like, I made lunch for myself today. Didn't work right through that. That's
Yeah. But then also think about everything that failed too. Like, there was, I think, probably more than double of what we won, we failed at.
Oh my
God.
God.
That, I have to say, that's been an experience. It really has been an experience, and a good one too. It's really been a good one. Like, something I look back on. Okay, that didn't work. Don't do that again. Like, really lessons learned from losing. Definitely. And everyone does it. I feel like if you're not losing, then you're not going to win anything because you're not trying. You have to try, you have to lose, you have to be crushed and, feel like you want to hide under a rock. I've wanted to give up so many times. I have given up and then I've gotten right back. That's how I know that this is truly what I want to do.
Yeah.
I've given up and I've rested for a couple of months at a time and then gotten right back on.
Yeah. No, it's true. And I think it's under those rocks that you find yourself again. As heavy and as hard and as challenging as it is, there's something still inside of you that's like, keep going. You deserve this. You will get there, because everything that's happened up until this point is information for you to work with. We experimented with everything, with Isagenix, with essential oils, with the different diets. From the bigger picture of things, it was all about our personality of finding the one thing that worked, right? And I still use the oils. I still understand the concept of deep cleansing and really giving your body a break to function properly. So there's bits and pieces that we take from all of our experiences, but we didn't want to be stuck in a box. I think that was the point, was that we knew that we were on a mission to create something other than that, even though we're taking these pieces with us.
Yeah, right. And it's funny because all those things we did together. We still did those things together. And yet I think because we're both so creative and we like to think out of the box, at least for me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's probably your thought too, is I don't like to, or not that I don't like to, I can't stay passionate about something that's not mine. That's something that I'm not creating. That's something I am kind of forced to be on a team with other people. And that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying in this situation, it didn't work for me. I didn't like to have to be at certain meetings or do certain trainings or follow all of these rules or be in gigantic groups where you're not personally connected to each person and you don't know their story. They're just kind of there. And I'm not bashing this because it is great stuff. It really is. I love the products. It's just not for me. Being in one of those is not for me. And MLM is not for me. I like to use the stuff still. Yes, I do use the oils and I love them. I do love them. I've got way too many. Yeah. And I love them. I use them all the time. So it's not about that. It's about being passionate about what's coming actually from your heart and putting that out there and helping other people to grow. So that was a fail and it was a win at the same time. Found out we didn't like to do it and it wasn't our passion, but we still love the products and we've learned a lot about it.
Yeah.
So I mean, you need to try, you need to fail, and you need to move on. That's how you grow. And again, it's never going to stop.
It's true. And I think we just went headfirst into wanting to do it, figure it out our own way, because MLMs, I stay open. So who knows what's down the road. Right now is not the time for me to put my full focus into Isagenix or any other MLM. But I do see a need for someone who does have that entrepreneurial spirit, because the systems, the processes, and the support is there for you. So there's so much to gain from it and to learn. But we took what we could, we milked it in that moment, and then we moved on. So, and I still think that we've made some great connections within those, and it's still topics of conversations because I use peppermint oil every single day, a lot of times a day. So everyone's very curious about what that you do and what is that?
What do you smell? Like everyone's asking, what's that smell? Because I'm still addicted to that orange oil.
Are you? I love
the orange. I think of now? I think of that very first, oh my God, the conference we went to for IIN when we were way at the top.
Yeah.
I had the orange oil. Every time I smell that orange oil, I think of that moment.
Oh, wow.
It just makes me smile. It's so funny because that's when we had started it way back then.
Those events are so inspiring.
I brought the oil.
Yeah. I remember, yes, we were so high up and just seeing all of those people on stage, like sharing their story. And like, I just felt the energy in the room of like, between me and you too, it was just like, we want this, and we're going to get this.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
It was so powerful, so powerful. It was an amazing moment, amazing weekend. And it's so funny. I was in the city the weekend of, oh my God, I don't know when I'm going to air this, but this past weekend. So the weekend of, I don't even know what the date is anymore. I can't keep track. It's like the
March 31st.
there was a conference going on there from IIN. And I'm like, oh my God. Like I was walking past it at the same time. I didn't even realize it was a conference. And I just felt that energy because I saw everyone walking out of the building. And I was like thinking about those days again, just having that energy within me. And it kind of just brought back that smell. And it's funny because I brought the orange oil with me into the city, bring it with me. And I just like took it out and I just like sniff it in. It just felt so good. So good.
No, that's awesome. That's such a cool memory for sure. And I think like what just triggered me in that moment was that you have so much time to explore and figure out and get that clarity. And it's so cool when you find your people.
Yeah.
And that was like the tipping point of it all, because it led us to so many different connections and so many different opportunities. Was the coolest part, because when you're stuck in a place of like, all right, this is how my life's going to be, it's autopilot, it's routine, there's always a way out. It's just a matter of not holding so tightly and just being curious. And I think we're such advocates for that, of as uncomfortable as things may get, which they will, and hard under that rock, but there's always a way out. And you just have to keep going and follow that breadcrumb of what feels good. Follow that trail.
Yeah, you definitely need to just open your mind. And I know that's a lot easier said than done, but changing your perspective, looking at things differently. And that's something that I'm going through right now in a major way. And yeah, definitely listen to that show that I did on what's scaring me right now, because that's kind of where I am. And changing my perspective is where I'm at. And I feel like it's going to be easier every time I need to do it now, and every time I want to do it. So yeah, it's a scary thing, but it's amazing and it's exhilarating all at the same time.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's funny because I just did a Facebook Live for my goal setting with intention group of women who are amazing. And one of the themes was all about changing your perspective. And I spoke on fear, about how in the past, it would come up and you would feel it in the way that you would breathe, shortness of breath or heaviness on your chest. And you let that drive. You let fear take the wheel. And now I look at it as a friend, like, hey, what's up? I see you. Okay. But I'm going to put you in the passenger seat. We'll ride this out together, but I'm going to drive. Like,
yes.
That's cool, but not today.
You can stay there. I'm not going to listen to you, but it's okay that you're there.
Yeah, exactly. Because it is a form of excitement. And I think about it. Anything that we've ever been fearful of and that we've confronted, we've never regretted, at least in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
we're not dead,
deep.
Right? We're still alive.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Yep. The odds are really good right now.
They really are. They really are. All right. Well, let's get into what this sponsorship that you are doing with me. Let's get into that, because that's what we wanted to talk today and to share with everyone. Although we talked about a lot of good shit. So
we did.
That was good. We could, like I said, we can talk for hours. Let's go right into what this program is and what it is that you have to offer for anyone who's starting a podcast or who even has one.
Yes, absolutely. So this goes with it's a mix of the creative marketing and personal development coaching, as far as knowing yourself, right? Knowing yourself, knowing your story, and how can I utilize and optimize my story and feel authentic getting out there. It just always goes back to knowing yourself. So as I mentioned, your story is your superpower. We're calling it your podcast is your superpower. And this came to be from when I first started coaching. I would have the form that you fill out, and it would be kind of structured in a way where it left room for things to unfold. But again, it didn't feel right. And so I evolved as a coach and started hosting creative roadblock sessions, strategy sessions, where, to be honest, I didn't prep. I was getting on the phone with people based off of if they felt stuck in life, in their career, and really anything that could possibly come up. And I've had people come in where they have something on their mind, and then we get to talking and something else completely unfolds, which is really, really cool. And so from that, I just realized how important it is to just let things naturally unfold and evolve. So I always like holding a session to be able to see whatever comes up. I'm very in the moment. And we change day by day. Your business changes day by day. So with this sponsorship and with this package, I'm offering a support call, a strategy call to let's talk about where you're at, how you're feeling. Is your business, is your life still fulfilling you? And if not, okay, where do you feel stuck and where do we need to move towards moving forward? So that's really important for me to do that with my clients. And with that, I am giving out a guide, a brand visibility and identity guide that is going to give you different tips and steps so it's going to be a mix of getting clear on your intentions because I think that's really important for how you want to feel in your life and in your business. And what does that look like? Think about, well, some people have part-time jobs, so I can't do this full time. So I need to make sure that I have a good mix that feels good. And it's just a way first to kind of lay that foundation of, okay, this is how I want to feel. These are my goals. And now these are the action steps that I'm going to take moving towards that. And where we move towards is creating the strategies and systems for your business for you to show up and be visible in a way that feels good. So I essentially teach you and give you tips on how that works. And a lot of it is through your story, by prompting you through questions, by utilizing these podcasts and interviews, because there's so much juicy content and value that I feel is so overlooked. And I think this is a unique take on this because when I first started writing my content, I tend to move towards writing. That's just my go-to. But in an interview setting, you feel so much more comfortable than if you're on live or like 4, 3, 2, 1, okay, go. Now you just have to speak. Like I love being prompted. That's where I feel most comfortable. So as you respond to questions in an interview or just journal them out, this is essentially creating content that's relevant to your story and your business, your mission, and your why. So I go into these key kind of creative ways of making the most of all of this stuff.
Awesome. That sounds really good. It definitely does. So how would someone grab this? And what are your first kind of steps to figure out if it's good for someone?
So I always do a complimentary call. So if there's any questions, there's a page up now with all the information. And if they go through it and they think that it's a good fit, but they're not ready to purchase it, then we can hop on a call and just go through whatever is coming up. But the idea is to purchase this little package, this mini startup package of just touching the surface of all the other possibilities and potentials of what you can do in your life and your business with your branding and showing up authentically and being visible in a way that feels good, because we know that that's most important. It's hard because we see the competition. We see everyone else showing up, but what you don't see is them getting to that point. All the stuff that it took to get to that point. Think about all the growth work and the mindset work that it takes to get there, and the clarity and support. So that's kind of all it bundled up in a little box for you. Even though I don't really like boxes. I don't like boxes.
It sounds nicer though. It's a little package. Make it into a pretty box. How about that?
Yeah, exactly. And it's exactly what you make it.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. That sounds awesome. So you'll give me the link. I'll link that up right in here again. And is there anything else that you wanted to add to that?
So pretty much, guys, go check it out. Check out the page, get all the information. But really, it's going to be a mix of support and a guide that's going to walk you through exactly how to optimize and utilize what you already have on your plate if you are podcasting already, and how to create an authentic content plan that feels good. So you can show up for your people, so you can be confident in that. Because I know that's a big deal. And it's something that it just comes with the territory of being an entrepreneur. We have to show up and we have to be consistent. And the way that we feel comfortable is sharing what we know. And what we know is our story. We hold the key to our life story. or that wisdom for other people. And that's how we connect too. So there's a lot of value in it. I'm proud of it. Finally tied all of my strengths into this awesomeness. So I couldn't be more excited. And like I said, I always offer a complimentary call for anything that you're unsure of or need more clarity around.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah. And then the price, just to mention it on here, is $199 for the guide and the strategy session. And then you get, if you wanted, the free call just to kind of go over if you're not sure.
All right, cool. Sounds like a good deal. All right, cool. I think that's all that we got for you guys today. And I just want to thank Lisa for coming on and expanding on that. And you guys see how we've connected and we've grown sort of together and apart and come back together again.
Yeah, so exciting. Thanks so much, Lauren, for having me on.
Thank you so much for being here. I hope you got tons of useful information out of the show today. If you want to grab the resources and links that you have heard in the show, you can go to the blogcast section on my website at thelaurenjean.com. Or if you just want to listen to the pretty pod player, you can check out the podcast tab on the website. Again, that's www.thelaurenjean.com. Talk to you guys next week.